Okay, so welcome to something brand new right here on my channel here on YouTube. It's called The Aftermath, and I tried to think as to why it is that I want to call it The Aftermath, and I came up with something kind of lame, as in it is, I mean, what I want to be means something, which is really when genuine conversations happen, they normally happen after the fact of something in your life, or
I love
you might
it.
experience something, so I thought, I'll find a really good time, a brand time a bit later, and I will have regular guests that I'm going to rotate. First of all, right here today is Dr. Elenia K, who is also my beloved cousin.
I
And
love you. I'm very
thank you so
proud of
much.
you.
Okay.
Very proud of you, and I love the name. Love it.
Yes. Two thumbs up until we get 10, like I'm saying, a 10 out of 10 here. All right, my name is Chris. This is again Elenia. You can also go and find her at Elenia-K. So just the letter.com on her landing page, at Elenia K, so Kay on Instagram, where you're most active. All details will be in the description below, so don't worry about that if you don't get that. But you can also mail her directly, info at Dr. So D-R-A Elenia. I'm saying Tuesday E-L. I was going to say A Lenia, right? ELENIA.com, right?
That's
Again,
it.
all details will be put in the description below. Don't forget to also subscribe if you like the channel, you like what we're doing here, and we're starting with the aftermath and suggestions that you would like to see, anything that you'd like to have us discuss in the future. So we are primarily, it's not that you don't know anything more, but you are a clinical nutritionist. And so the thing is that you will be primarily here sharing a lot of experiences, but also a lot of knowledge around something we did start on air on my
Yes.
radio show, which was called Wealth in Health. And here we are right now, extending just a more real conversation,
I love that. It's real. And so I love it.
Tommy.
So I've noticed, because I've been doing this since 2010, and I've noticed that it's the same pattern. And it's not, people will talk about character, certain character types. It's not. When
Yeah,
you have changed, when you've gotten to a point where you want to change your well-being, whether it's go on a diet, whether it's be more fit, whether it's just eat healthier, or you've been diagnosed with a clinical illness and you want to do something serious about it, what happens is the human being is a very strange thing. And this is something we're all the same in this way. And I'll tell you
yeah,
the ones that break the mold, what has to happen genuinely. It's always easier to be in a abnormal way of life than to feel the discomfort of changing for the better. What I mean by that is if you've been in a environment, a family home that eats very unhealthily, and your grandparents are overweight, and your parents are overweight, and you're overweight, and your siblings are overweight, this is what you know. When you go to friends, they're the same with their eating and their eating patterns. When you go visit family, they're the same in their eating and their eating patterns. So you grow up in this
yeah,
environment. This is what you know.
yeah,
I've worked with people who gave their children bottles of Coca-Cola and white bread with rum and sugar on for breakfast their whole lives.
yeah,
And so generally what happens is you get a wake-up call, you're 30 and you're a diabetic,
yeah,
you're in love and you want a relationship and you feel self-conscious, whatever it may or may not be. What
yeah,
I've seen physically is that it takes a lot for people to change the thought pattern, but not
yeah,
only within themselves. They have to start removing themselves from that environment. So
yeah,
if they're going to a family braai, if they're going to a Sunday lunch, if they're going to visit family, they become very isolated and secular, and they're
yeah,
singled out because they're now the one that's different in this environment. And no one likes that. It's always easier. That's why I say it's always easier to be in a abnormal or bad living pattern than to be feel the discomfort and the alienation because it's very lonely
yeah,
and it's very hard to change forever. And that's why I tell people diets don't work.
yeah,
Diets don't work. It has a shelf life. Okay, you
yeah,
lose your 10 kilos, and then the maintenance of a diet is not. And so that's
yeah,
why when I did the nutritional psychology, we amalgamate the two, because before you give someone a meal plan or a lifestyle nutritional plan, they need to understand the reality of what it is. And
taking my cap off.
it's
Sorry.
not that hard. No, please, it's not hard. It's not hard to change. People think they
Yeah.
can never have sugar again, they can never have carbs again, they can never have a
Yeah.
glass of wine again. That is not how our bodies are structured.
Yeah. It is that infinite. It's that black void of, I guess, one, what you don't know is not what you don't like. Clearly,
Yeah,
it adds a lot of discomfort, and but
plenty.
it is that definitive where you're sitting like and you're saying, oh, like uh, for example, if I really enjoy watching Bruce Willis
Yes,
movies, saying one day you need to stop watching
yes.
Bruce Willis for the rest of your life. And it's kind of, I think the approach is kind of the same
But also, it's never
as,
for the rest of your life. That's why I just said people don't
but
understand.
wow.
People think to be skinny and healthy or thinner or pick up more weight, because there's a lot of people that are underweight that are ill too.
Yeah.
To have a healthy lifestyle or to get to your end goal doesn't mean never again. And that's what I tell people. I did a radio show in Dubai where I said diet
Yeah.
is associated with never again. And then the brain automatically, not the brain, the mind, because it's two different things,
Yeah.
your brain and your mind. The mind
Yeah.
automatically goes into panic and then you crave those things you may never have. There's no such thing as never. Of course,
Yeah.
you're going to have your chocolate again, your pizza again, your potatoes again, your bread again, your alcohol again. Just
Yeah.
not when we're preparing their body to recalibrate and restructure from a lifetime of eating badly or
Okay.
stored visceral subcutaneous fat. And so that's
So
why I
then,
say often people don't understand what a meal plan can actually do. You can
yeah.
lose weight and be healthy and be fit and never feel hunger and still eat the foods that you can't have for a short time.
But the initial process is the shock value to your
Yes,
system. And so
yes,
you do that, you walk them through that. Uh,
correct.
I want to, we will talk about your own practice in that. But again, just to kind of continue the segue with people in their own ecosystem
Correct.
where they experience shock value to a certain change that they do make. What are the most common changes that are really, like you say, uncomfortable to their system, brain wise, system wise, organ wise, whatever it may be, right? When they're doing X, Y, and Z, that normally are considered or I would say maybe intimidating enough for someone to
Very.
say, yeah, okay, yeah, the
But the
kind of
thing
flight
is,
or fight thing. Yeah,
yes, their familiarity is taken away. That's a
okay,
big one. And this is what I mean. Say now you have a long day at work and your saving grace is drinks and dinner with friends at your favorite uh, curry place on a Friday, or a slice of a cake or two on a Saturday for a girls' brunch. Or what happens is people live for certain familiar rewards. And
yeah,
99.9% of those rewards for men and women that I've worked with is food.
yeah,
That's how we show love, how we treat ourselves most of the time. What gives us the most pleasure is
yeah,
food. And
yeah.
so what happens is when people go, I call it the initial starter plan, and that's where we start to look at weight, visceral subcutaneous fat measures, hormones, thyroid, metabolism. We look at those things. So for the first 2 to 3 weeks, and for some patients, 5 weeks plus, they don't get to do that the way they used to. So they can go with their friends for drinks. They just can't have
Yeah.
alcohol.
Okay.
They can go on the girls' cake and tea brunch or whatever it may or may not be, but they can't have the cake for the
So,
time being. So
yeah,
this is in a small measure, but I'm saying on holidays, family Sunday lunches, unless
yeah.
there's food there that they can eat, which is mostly
Seasonal
raw fats and
settings.
proteins,
Yeah.
they become very uncomfortable because their familiarity is
Mhm.
now changed.
With that in mind, like I would think of a birthday, like
Yeah,
your own birthday,
yeah,
or a Christmas, or someone else's birthday, or your child's birthday, whatever it may be. I'm thinking of these occasions that will tend to unroll around the corner quite quickly while you're trying your new
way
kind of
of life.
normal. And then it becomes, I would assume, because, yeah, no, because I'm a person, I went through the same thing as well. It feels like it doesn't mean as much
Yes,
because it is, yeah, because I'm
yes,
now living this particular, I've got to eat this. It's like as if I'm
unpleasant.
living in shackles. It does feel
Yes.
that way. It does.
Yes.
Like you're in prison or whatever it may be, or you being whatever it is. What is it when a court finds you guilty?
The
That
verdict is that.
yeah, you're suffering the verdict of something you did wrong, which ideally you did, because you wouldn't be
Correct.
deciding to make a change and decide to do something quote unquote it is better. But I said the quotes because in your head, that's where it is. What do your patients tell you?
They become very, I think aggressive is a hard word to use, but they become very unhappy,
Yeah,
bordering aggressive. They become quite defiant. Yeah, no, we didn't, yeah, you didn't tell us it was going to be like this. And I'll say, listen, I am many things, but I'm transparent from day one. You know me. I will
yeah,
never sugarcoat something.
yes,
But the general consensus is no problem. I know it's uncomfortable, but why are you here? Because
yeah,
what was your alternative that got you to this point in the first place?
yeah,
Is discomfort until we lose the excess weight, regulate blood sugar levels, get hormones balanced, because I specialize in female sex organs, sex hormones,
yes,
you know this.
yeah,
Let's just, in a lifetime, 2 months is nothing. Then you go back to, you and you know what, also, we've got so many amazing variety here. Say now, if you are doing high protein, high lean protein, you can
yeah,
have pizza with a cauliflower base. You can have xylitol coated organic chocolate almonds. You can, it's not like you are never going to have the sensation of sugar or sweetness or carbs again. But the
yeah,
problem is, what was your alternative? And so
yeah,
I always say to them, no problem. If you're finding it that hard, go back to the way you were, go back on
yeah,
chronic
yeah,
medication.
yeah,
One is
yeah,
going to lead into the other. Have organ failure.
yeah,
Like, what is your alternative rather than the 2, 3 months of discomfort? Because, Chris, no one is supposed to be on diet their whole life. And no
yeah.
one can be the same weight their whole life.